Welcome back to the Hill on NewsNation. Thousands of migrants are making their way from the Guatemalan border through Mexico towards the border with Texas. The caravan is marching more than 1,000 miles and includes migrants from Central America, Venezuela, and Cuba. The procession comes just as key U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, are set for a high-stakes meeting with the Mexican president tomorrow in Mexico City. Let's bring the panel back in. What is the ask? What is going to make this a success? There are 10,000 people a day pouring over the border. It is a crisis. Even the White House recognizes this. They're negotiating with Republicans in Congress to do something and which will invariably infuriate Democrats. So is this window dressing, this meeting? What's the ask? What could make it a success?
Well, it's 3 years too late, in my opinion. I mean, this should have been happening over the last 3 years every day. This is the biggest issue, I keep saying this, facing our country. 10,000 people a day in a month. That's the size of Cincinnati, Ohio. Right. That's the size of Lexington, Kentucky. I mean, it's just insane. My dear friend Scott and I disagree on this, but it's not only a humanitarian issue. I mean, look at these photos right now, but it's also the biggest national security issue facing our country. And I don't think asking Mexico to help is going to do any good.
I don't either. I think this is long overdue. Mexico ought to be involved. Two asks, probably. One, ironically, can you keep them there, or can you help us in an orderly fashion?
You mean like remain in Mexico, the President Trump's policy?
Beyond,
is that what you're saying?
No, I mean beyond keeping them there, helping them process them in an orderly way where you're not putting them in cages or separating children from their parents, or you're not creating a refugee camp while they wait for processing. These people have a right to come here. They have a right to come here legally, and if they come here illegally, there's a process in place. Yeah. And if that process is in place and you have more resources there, then that works.
Okay.
We've never done that, though, and the Republicans don't believe they have a right to be here. They say border security, that means don't let them come. Well, but if they were coming from the north, they'd have a process in place.
Congressman
Costello,
yes.
What does it say about the current political environment around this issue, which Democrats have not wanted to tackle? Nobody's wanted. It's the third rail of American politics. That the White House is now negotiating with Republicans. It appears like it's in good faith, although it might be Lucy with the football this time.
I think it tells you that the Democrats realize it's a problem. I think Ashley's right. I think that over a period of 3 or 4 years now, this went from being a Republican issue that rallied the base to an issue that most Americans look at and say, this is out of control. And I would surmise that this meeting that's going to happen is going to be an attempt to say, prevent as much of this flow before it gets to the border. That's what they want to see. Because the pressure at the border on the Border Patrol agents is absolutely overwhelming.
Sure.
And you have no idea who's coming into this country. And so it is a national security issue. It's an economic security issue. And you're starting to see it, particularly in the Northeast.
And it's cutting across party lines, right? Well, I mean, Democrats are concerned now, too.
I think over the past year or two, it certainly it has started to
obviously,
do that.
You know, the stunt sending migrants to Democratic cities worked. Right, we're all talking about it. Democratic mayors are saying, "Hey, you know,
either Arizona and Texas are going to be overwhelmed, or New York and Chicago are going to be overwhelmed."
But you know, the president's negotiating with the House because he has to. Republicans control the House. This is their number one issue.
He's negotiating with the Senate.
He's got to negotiate with everybody, and he's got to have a bill that has border security. It's got to have Israel money and Ukraine money. And those are three things that not everybody agrees on fully. So they're going to have to come together and compromise. There was a great bill in 2013 that I think they should reintroduce, maybe modernize it. The Border Security and Immigration Modernization Act of 2013 passed the Senate, did not get taken up by John Boehner in the House. It needs to be revisited.
George W. Bush, early
2007.
first term. Was it first term?
No, 2007.
There was a revolt within the Republican Party.
Yes, but 2007, he and Kennedy had a deal done, and then the banks collapsed, and so it went off the table. But the president has a lot of these authorities on his own that he doesn't even need Congress to do.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.